What's going on, everybody? Let me get situated here. It's Friday night, another live stream, and not a whole lot like always going on. I did drop a new video this week, but I'm going to wait a few minutes because I believe with live streams they might play an ad at the beginning, so I'm just going to let people catch up, and we'll get into it here in a minute. But I saw Papa Shrimp Aquatics was the first one here. That's Jerry. Hey Jerry, hope everything's going well. Jerry's got some big things going on with his whole aquatics uh, hobby, I guess, slash business. I'm not going to really say anything else because I'm sure it's all still in the works, but check out his channel. Jerry, you need to start doing some content now that I've said that. So, good to see you, Jerry. Fish and Floral, hello, good to see you. Joe Campbell's here. John, the Jarhead, Texas Fish Room, what's going on, guys? All right, so this week I did do a video. It was short. My Barbatus or Barbatus Corys have been laying eggs, and I just been letting them go. Really, ever since I got them, I haven't had any issues. Oh, you can zoom in. I didn't know you could do that on this view. Anyways, haven't had any issues with them laying eggs ever since I got them. They're a tried and true breeding colony. I believe there's 8 of them, six or 8. I forget. But anyways, I feed them 5 times a day. I mentioned that in the video, and then they'll lay basically on their own. And then if I really want them to lay, I can pretty much almost force them to lay. If I drop in bloodworms, like an hour later, they're putting eggs on the glass. So super easy, at least for me to get eggs from them. But I haven't been able to get fry. So I did pull like my first batch of eggs, and I wasn't sure if I pulled them too soon. If I pulled them too soon, or what happened. I did put them in meth blue, and I was reading up, and Cory cats can basically lay eggs, but if the pH of the water's off, even though they're laying the eggs, if the pH of the water's not what it needs to be, they may never hatch. I never got mine to hatch at all, and really, the first step is, you can see I got some methylene blue on my hands because I did something earlier, but I'll get to that. First step is just to get them to lay eggs. You might have Corys and they never lay eggs. The second step is to get the eggs to hatch, and then obviously the most important part is to get the fry to survive. So that's another thing with like pufferfish. People are breeding certain pufferfish, but they can never get the fry to survive past 3 days or a week or 2 weeks. So I'm on the first step. I have the egg part down. The next step is to get them to hatch. So I did pull the eggs that you saw in the video that I released today. I did pull them. I put them in my, I got the box, my Ziss brine shrimp hatchery. I'm actually using this basically as a Corydoras egg hatchery. I basically put the eggs in here. That way it's clear all the way around. I can monitor the eggs. It's got airflow, and super easy to do water change on them. I just open the valve at the bottom, drain off some water, and then I can top it off. I went ahead and moved the eggs tonight, so they've been in there for a couple days now in their tank. They were in their tank for a couple days. They're this orangish color. I think they're fertile and everything's going to move along. So I pulled them from the tank. They're in the blender, and I put 1 drop of methylene blue in it just as a precaution. On the first batch I did, I ended up doing like a few drops. So I don't want to go overboard on it this time. I just want to basically help boost them along, and then I'll water change that out as I go. I'm hoping here in a few days I'll know more, if I can see some wigglers. I'm not sure how long it takes the Barbatus Cory eggs to hatch. I've been told it's 3 days, and I've been told it's like 6 days. We'll see. And but I'm hoping like tomorrow, not tomorrow night, today's Friday, hoping Sunday night I will visually see something going on with them. But they're in a really good spot now and get good pictures. I do have a macro lens. If you watch the video, that picture I took where it's like a real close up, that's using a macro lens on my phone. And I want to get pictures of these cories developing because they're a really awesome cory fish. So there's that. The emerald green cories, I know that, who was it? Mickey M mentioned that if I get some good pictures of these corridors that I have in that fluval tank, he might be able to help identify what species of cories they are. I know my buddy Mike was here, and I showed him, like, there's 4 that are ginormous. That's a word. Emerald green cories, but there's 2 that have a different pattern to them. So I don't know if it's just a different trait, if it's a different, like maybe a different location. But these ones are from Ohio Fish Rescue, and this batch, since I'm working on the Barbados cories, I'm going to let these eggs, these emerald green eggs, sit in their tank and let nature take its course. If they survive, they survive. If not, I will get to that. I would like to set up more egg tumblers, if you want to call it that. But right now, with trying to figure out moving the fish room over to the garage, I don't really want to add more stuff to the current fish room. I'm trying to downsize it so that way I can redo everything in the garage. So over the past few months, really over summer, I kind of, my whole fish hobby enthusiasm went down. I was not really losing interest. I just wasn't really motivated to do a whole lot with the fish room. And I think everybody can see that with the channel. A lot of the fish videos kind of stopped coming out weekly as I was doing. But I think now that it's getting towards winter, I'm starting to get back into it. And really, these cory cats, both of these groups laying eggs, kind of boosted my interest back into it. So I want to, definitely work with, especially with the Barbados cories. That's not something that's very, very common. So I'm hoping I can raise those guys up and get them spread out more into the hobby. And that way, somebody that's better at breeding them can get their hands on them and breed them and, spread them around. But I will get to the chat here in a second. So with the fish room, that's basically what's going on as of this week. I did release a couple short member videos. One is strictly members only. I released that today. It's not going to go main channel, and that's what I do with members. I release all my videos go to members first. It's usually for between 1 and 4 days in advance. That way I can get feedback on the video from the channel members and see oh, should I really post this? Was this a bad idea? Did I accidentally miss editing something? You got me cussing at myself or something like that. It goes to channel members first. But they did get 2 videos this week. They're very short. One was the cory egg video, and the other one is a short video, no editing, basically of what I'm doing tomorrow. Just kind of letting the channel members know what's going on tomorrow. I will be going to Ohio Fish Rescue tomorrow. I don't have a dog sitter, so basically what I'm going to do is wake up, feed the dogs, let them out, drive up to Ohio Fish Rescue, do what I'm going to do up there. I'm taking my drone with me. As far as I know, I might be the only person that's going to do a full drone or any drone video. I don't know if anybody's ever taken a drone video there, but I'm going to try to do a full drone tour of OFR, including the front pond, their new koi pond out back, and I'm going to try to fly it through their fish room and definitely over the indoor pool and around, and that way it's kind of like an updated view of everything at OFR that's fish related. And so stay tuned for that video. But yeah, there's some work to be done tomorrow, and basing off the weather, this is probably the last weekend that they'll be working on the pond to really button it up. So I've been talking to Josh this week, and it looks like I'll be going up there tomorrow. I'll be coming back tomorrow evening. So I'll probably only be up there for 3 to 5 hours, depending on what's going on, because I have to get back to my dogs. So really, that's all that's going on. My pond, like I mentioned before, I'm slowly bringing in my Tequila Sunrise guppies from the outdoor pond, trying not to overload their filtration in the inside house, bringing them in like one net scoop at a time, letting the filtration catch up with its beneficial bacteria. And then I got to break the pond down. It's starting to get really cold at night. We are down into the 40s, and the other, I think it was last week, we got down to the mid 30s at night. Guppies are still doing good, and but it's time to start breaking that pond down, and I need to like pressure wash it, clean it up, and store that pool for next season. And I might end up putting that pool in the garage and setting it up over winter if I can get this whole garage build going, getting the insulation done, the new walls, and I need to get a heater plumbed in. I need to find a gas plumber that can. I have a gas pipe in my garage, and it's poorly ran. It takes up a lot of space. It comes uh, in my garage, goes across the wall, then it goes up into the ceiling. I need somebody to come and basically where it comes in the garage, make it go straight up. So that way I'm not losing like 4 feet of space because there's a gas pipe there. And when they reroute it, I want them to add a tap so that way I can plug in a gas heater and then heat the garage with gas instead of electricity. It'll save a ton of money. And then with the dehumidifier I bought, it pumps out a lot of heat. So I'm hoping it'll be uh, toasty out there. And then the dehumidifier I mentioned before about how it's heating my fish room. On the warmer days, that sucker's heating the fish room to like 83 to 84 degrees. The tanks aren't that hot, but if it's 84, the tanks are probably like 81. All the fish are doing good. I haven't had any issues. I've basically been feeding them a little bit more because I'm assuming that their metabolisms are a little bit higher, being that they're warmer. So I'm trying to make up for it. But anyways, I just saw my name was tagged by I Hate Stupid People. It says see above. So I'm gonna jump in the chat and see what's going on with everybody. The Jarhead Entrepreneur says I'm in the process of getting my fish room / rooms built. Picked up a pair of L144s today. I'll have fish room content coming soon to my channel. That's cool, bud. I hate stupid people. I hope all goes well for you. I'm slowly getting supplies for two 150s for my Oscars to have their own space. Two 150s is super awesome. I would like to get bigger tanks, but I gotta see what route I'm going with in the garage if I'm going to go for breeding projects. I really want to continue my guppy line. Not the Tequila Sunrise, but the newest one where it's the Cobra Tuxedo Cross. I really would like to work on that. And then especially now with the, what do I have? 3 or 4 different species of rainbow fish now. I like to maybe, work those lines out. So I think the fish room, instead, the original plan was the 2,000 plus gallon community tank and then packing the fish room full of tanks to be able to bring in like more rare fish and breed and stuff at the same time. But I might split it in half to where now it's the 2,000 plus community tank with maybe some display tanks of stuff I can enjoy, and then the breeding project on the other wall. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done before that happens. But I can tell already with it getting colder out, things outdoors are slowing down. And as soon as I get in the house and I'm bored, that's when the projects start. So when I built my fish room, I did it all over winter. I went from the first rack to the whole second rack in a matter of just a couple months. It was pretty quick, and it keeps me busy, and that's what I like. Fish and Floral says, I got 3 tiny pea puffers yesterday. Brine shrimp and frozen bloodworms are as big as they are. I'm worried that they won't get food. Will they eat a small snail at that size? Fish and Floral, so I also got pea puffers. I actually currently only have one. The community of 3 worked out great for a few months, and then once they got big enough, they basically started picking on each other. Um, so really, the strongest survived, and I have one. It's actually in my community 25-gallon guppy tank. That tank was getting overrun with pond snails, and so I put the puffer in there, and the puffer's been leaving the guppies alone, and it has never looked so fat before because it's got almost an endless supply of snails. The snail population has dramatically gone down, um, but he's definitely happy. So, anyways, when I first got him, let me get back to your question. I could not get my pea puffers to eat bloodworms. They would eat snails and live baby brine. If it wasn't moving, they wouldn't touch it. So what I was doing is I was taking my ram's horns, I was taking all the smallest ones I could pull out of any of my tanks and just chucking them into the pea puffer tank, and that's what they ate. And then once I got a little bit of size onto them, I basically fasted them for like 2 weeks. They didn't get any new snails for 2 weeks, and then I hit them with the bloodworms, and they ate it no problem. So basically, it was they were hungry enough that they were like, "All right, this is food. I'm gonna eat it." That's how I got them onto bloodworms, but they're tiny. The best thing I would suggest is live baby brine. When those are swimming around, it really grabs their attention, and they'll go after it. Um, so if you can hatch out some baby brine, that'd be probably the best thing. Um, and then also with bloodworms, what you can do is if you're buying like the frozen cubes, thaw them out in a cup. Don't put them in the microwave because it actually kind of like cooks them and turns them brown. I've tested that. Don't do that. Just put them in a cup, room temperature. They'll thaw out, and then you could take if you don't have a problem with it, you can grab them with your fingers and then like kind of pull them apart and put them in pieces if they'll eat them. If you don't really want to touch them, I use like I'll put like 6 cubes in a cup, let them all thaw out, and then I'll take tweezers and I'll drop them into like a little tweezer full into each of my tanks. Um, you can take tweezers and then like a butter knife and kind of like cut them up. Like they're not hard to cut; they just rip apart to make them smaller. But I haven't had an issue with anything being really too big, and I've actually seen them um, basically go after bigger snails, like bigger ram's horns that like they can't eat that thing. They'll like pick at it, right? So I think you'll be all right. But my recommendation, if they're that small, is to use live baby brine, and then or try like really small snails. Mine just they went after the small snails, and that's all they would touch. Terry's Tropical Tank says, I forget I have fish sometimes during the summer. Yeah, so like when I first set up like the import rack, I was changing the water pretty much daily, and then like as the tanks matured, it was like every other day, then maybe every 3 days. Over the summer, luckily all the tanks are planted. No, I don't want to say they're planted. They're not planted. They have plants in them. Like this is planted. Like the plants are planted, right? Well, I was selling plants, so I was putting them in all the tanks, so that way they would convert from immerse grown from the farm to submerged grown. That way they get a good root system going before I sold them off. So all the tanks had plants in them to help eat nitrates. Um, but there was times where I was going like 2 weeks without water changes, and that's not like a big deal on my other tanks. Like this tank just gets water topped off because it evaporates so much. I do water top offs. Basically, all the tanks in my house evaporate fairly quickly because when the AC is running, the air is dry, water's got somewhere to evaporate to. So I do water top offs. Well, on the import, the reason why it could be an issue is that they're typically heavily stocked. If I was ordering fish in quantities of 50, 75, 100, the Cardinal Tetras, I had like 250 of them in that 29-gallon. That's why I was doing the like every other day water changes. It's because it's a huge bioload on that system. Even with plants having 250 Cardinal Tetras in there eating every day, I just felt better doing daily water changes. all that's going to change in the garage, because right now that's all manual water changes. It's not hard work. I have the big like 50-gallon like trash can with a sump pump in it, and I have three basically Python hooks, and I hook 3 tanks at once, start the siphon, and they drain real quick. And then I have a sump pump in my water barrel, and I can fill them up. I can change out 55 tanks of water in maybe 20 minutes. It really doesn't take long. It takes longer to drag the hose down to fill up this tank than it does to get the import rack water changes done. But come garage, everything's going to be drilled and everything will be on auto water changes, like 100%. Where I use the Wi-Fi switches on like rack 1, that's going to be used on everything. I'm also contemplating, when I do expand into the garage, how I'm going to set everything up. With the fry rack, it's a big volume, but the tank's base is small. It's not great for grow out, even though they have a large water volume per se. They're in a small tank, so they're my buddy Mike's, his rainbow fish, which these are his rainbow fish right there. His are growing out faster because they're in big tanks. Mine are not growing as fast because they're in smaller tanks. I think what I want to do is use the fry racks for breeding, so I can do my pairs or trios of fish, whether it's pairs of rainbow fish or pairs of guppies, Odessa barbs, whatever. I'm just throwing fish out there. Use that to spawn them, and then I can play musical fish real easy in that rack system, and then move on, and then have grow out tanks. I think what I want to do is with grow out tanks, and then this won't be for anything imported, but for my house in-home grown fish, I think I'm going to do a flow through. I don't know, not necessarily a flow through, a central pump system again. So like rack 2 is a flow through where each tank feeds each other. I think what I'm going to do is, when the tanks are stacked, do a sump underneath. That way with sumps, it's stupid easy to do water changes, and I can even have it set up for auto water top off. And then that way I can do, like, say this one rack system has one sump. I only need to plumb a drain and a water fill for one tank instead of, let's say, 10 tanks. So that might be something I do. There's a lot of things I've been thinking about on how I want to do Fish Room 2.0, and a lot of things I've learned over the past couple years of what I would do different. And auto water changes is priority, for sure. Cyclist 23 is here. Hello. Chevy Fish is here. Hey. I Hate Stupid People says, I can't wait to see the drone video. Hope it works out well for you. Yeah, so actually I just loaded, so my vacation I took, like, I don't know when that was, a month ago, a little over a month ago. I went down to Tennessee for like a long weekend with the horses. I just looked at the drone video during OFR's live stream. I really only took maybe 5 minutes worth of video, 5 to 10 minutes of basically just at the cabin and like the mountains around. And I might do like a 1 or 2 minute long video and post it anyways, just that way you guys can see the cabin we were at in the mountains, because it was super beautiful. But I'm really looking forward to doing the drone video at OFR tomorrow. I think it gives a whole different perspective on like the ponds and pool, and then being that you can basically float the drone through the room, I think it'll give a different perspective on looking at the tanks. And I think the next thing, if I were to continue doing videos at other people's places, I probably would buy a wireless mic, so that way I can record somebody talking about the tank, but use the drone's video. So that way, like, Josh or Big Rich could explain, like, here's the 550 and this is, what's in it or whatever. You guys can listen while the drone is, cruising along. But I haven't needed a wireless mic for any reason other than that idea. Jarhead says, I want a drone bad for some videos. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy flying it. It's super easy to fly. It's expensive to get into it. It's one of those things where you basically get what you pay for, and I think my setup was right around $1,000, but it's pretty foolproof. It's got like the built-in GPS, so it knows its height, it knows where it's at, it shows you on like a live Google Maps where the drone is, its altitude, its speed, and then it's got sensors in it, so if you're flying right towards a wall, it can sense that and it'll stop. And what's cool is you could fly this thing at somebody's face and it will stop. I think it's like 5 feet away, and you could try to like ram them with this drone and it won't do it. Now it does have a sport mode, and it makes it like more responsive, and it goes a lot faster. It turns those sensors off so you could like zigzag through trees and stuff like that. You can run into somebody in sport mode, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm really liking what kind of video I can get from it. Like its view, and it's got a lot of cool shooting modes where if you got a group of people outside, you can have it do preset things where it'll like circle you and record, and I might try to do something like that with their back pond. But we'll see. I got 3 batteries. I'm going to play around with it as much as possible, and probably Sunday I'll be editing video for a few hours. When the videos are like 20 minutes long, it's like 4, if not more, hours of editing and rendering, and it's a lot of work. That's why I like the member videos. It's like I record, I'm like, this is what's going on, no editing, upload to members and done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and it's been months since I've been up there. It's been what, end of July? I was up there like 5 weekends in a row, and I think the last weekend I was up there is when we got the forklift for Ohio Fish Rescue, because I think the forklift was after I got done welding the Bellagio stands for them. So whenever the forklift video was, that's the last time I've been up there. So it's time I go back up and see how everybody's doing. Moving along. I hate stupid people said most regular plumbers should be able to do that for you. It's one of those things where I think I could do it. I know what needs to be done, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm modifying a gas line in my house. If something were to go wrong, and the insurance company found out I modified the gas line, I don't want like insurance kicked for like if something bad were to happen. So I figure I should probably have somebody that's licensed to do it. I don't know. I'll do all my own electrical work. I have no problem with that. I'm so confident in my ability. I have no problem doing my own electrical work. But with gas, I don't know. There's just something about it that, with my experience, like I can solder in copper lines, and I can do steel pipe work. But I don't know. There's just something about it that's got me. I'm just going to get somebody that knows for sure what they're doing and that they're confident, and that's the route I'll probably go. I was trying to get Agno Aquatics to come down. He's up by Ohio Fish Rescue, up by Cleveland. His day job is HVAC stuff, and I saw that he was doing something with plumbing a gas line to a heater. I was like, hey, you need to come down to Columbus and plumb my gas line for me. He just laughed at it, but yeah, that's what he does. So he obviously owns Agno Aquatics. Jimmy from Aquarium Co-op's done videos there. I've done a video, 1 or 2 videos there. Great guy, great place, and but to support his business, he works doing HVAC. So he works doing HVAC, and then he goes to the fish store, which is kind of like what I do. I work full time, and then I'm doing the fish thing, like as a side hustle. His side hustle is super legit because he's got an actual fish store. So if you're in the Cleveland area, go support him. IHSP says see above. Hope I got whatever your see above was. I don't know if that was the plumbing or the pea puffer questions, but that's all I really saw. Jarhead said being in Texas is finally cooling off enough to get projects started. Was blazing hot during summer. Yeah, I shipped quite a bit of fish. Now that I think about it, surprisingly to Texas. You know what? Texas might have been my biggest state I shipped to this year. I had a lot of customers out of Texas this year, and it was definitely a challenge with the heat down there. So what the worst part was when it was like high 90s here, and it was also like hundreds there. So the whole trip was extremely hot. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't want to work out in the 90s or hundreds. Oh, your next batch just said it's still going to be in the 90s next week, though. Yeah, it's. I think it was in the 70s today. It's definitely been cooling off, which is nice. It's nice at work, not sweating just like walking to work. You know, it's when you walk out the door and it's 80 with 90% humidity. I'm not a fan. So this weather, this is my weather. This is what I like. It's easier for me to warm up than to cool down, right? It's easier to put a jacket on than try to work naked or something. I don't know. Zen Ginger's here. Zen got some fish. Zen's also in Texas. She was a place I shipped to, and yep. IHSP said I was meaning the OFR drone video you were playing. Yeah, for sure. Like I'm excited to do it, and I think that'll be a good video that's going to be fun for me to do and fun for people to watch. So I'll post it to members first. I'll let it simmer for them for a couple days, and then I'll post it to the main channel. And I'll probably do like a hyperlink on the OFR Facebook page, so that way try to get more people to see this video from a different view. Just dropped 700 on new Canon M50 package, but drone is on the list. Yep. I mean, there was a lot of things I wanted to do this summer, but because of this pandemic that happened, I really wanted to do fish club member like room tours. So members of the local fish club, go meet them, introduce them on the channel, and talk about what they're breeding or whatever they're into, and whether they had 1 tank or 100 tanks. I wanted to do that for as many members for the local club as I could and make a whole playlist. And then I wanted to branch out, go down to Cincinnati and do the same thing, like hit up all the Cincinnati members, go up to NEO, which is the Northeastern Ohio group, and really just get this like library of all these people's homes, and like how are they breeding this? Like Eric Bodrock, like that. Anytime somebody does a video of his place and he's in Pittsburgh, it's so informational. Granted, it would be hours long. Like that's an all-day trip to go through his fish room, but you can learn so much. But I want to know, like a lot of people know who Eric is. Nobody knows some of these smaller people that are part of clubs. There might be somebody that's in a club that's not even online that's breeding some crazy rare fish. And I really wanted to bring that online because this is how people learn. So many people are on YouTube, and when you want to learn something, people are searching. They're searching Google, they're searching YouTube. Like the other day when I was like researching about the pH on the Cory eggs, YouTube search, Corydoras hatching eggs or breeding Corydoras. I just do a YouTube search, and then I watch some videos, take some notes, try to see what makes sense. And just because somebody says it's this pH, this water temp, that's their experience. I might not have the same experience, but it's a good starting point. So I really wanted to get the club members online. And like when you go to club meetings, at least my club, I'm definitely in the lower end of the age group. I mean, there are a few, quite a few people that are young, but there's quite a few people that are older, and they might not be into YouTube and documenting things. But I think it should be documented and to help the hobby grow and expand. And I really want to find somebody local that's doing something with CARES. Um, and if I can find somebody that would be like the top of my list of what I want to record first would be somebody doing a fish species that's on the CARES list, because I think that needs to be out there and spread out more for sure. And that's another fish I would love. Not another fish, but a fish on that list is something else I would love to really get into. Is getting a CARES species and trying to breed them out. Jarhead said, "Yeah, editing can be tedious but fun too. I'm constantly learning Adobe Premiere myself." Yeah, so I actually have like two different things. So the main thing I use is Shotcut. Um, I don't want to say I'm like well versed with it, but I'm like I know what I want to do and how to do it. OFR uses, oh crap, I forget what it's called. It's on my phone and I can't access that right now. But they edit, or at least I know Josh edits all of his videos on his cell phone, and he does them in like 2 minutes. Like he edited a video last time I was up there. We're sitting on the couch having some drinks, and he just did a quick edit and was done. Um, he actually was doing the Corey eggs, or did I do it? Yeah, the Corey egg video. I used the cell phone app. Um, because I didn't want to put a bunch of time into it. I just wanted to get that content out to show you guys what I've been doing. But when I really want to edit something, I use Shotcut. Zen Ginger said, electricity, you're probably just going to blow yourself back a little. If it goes wrong, gas, you're going to blow stuff up. Yeah, I mean, I get that for sure. I mean, with electricity, I mean, don't get me wrong, you gotta be smart about it. You could definitely undersize wiring for what application you're running, and if you don't do it correctly, you could have electrical fire. And I've had electrical fire in one of my cars when I was in high school, and firsthand experience that was crazy how quickly stuff catches fire. Um, so like when people are using surge protectors and they think they're covered, a surge protector is protecting against surges. You can still overload a surge protector and it will catch fire. Um, I think Priscilla posted something this week at her fish store. A surge protector caught fire. I think a heater failed and it overloaded the surge protector, and the surge protector actually caught on fire. Luckily, the circuit breaker to the fish store kicked. But it's still, like, she posted a picture of the surge protector. It was all black and melted, and, that happens in your house. I don't want to bring up bad memories, but Papa Shrimp Aquatics house caught fire from his fish room. I guess he was guessing it was a surge protector that failed. We're guessing, or he's guessing that maybe a heater failed and somehow it overloaded the surge protector. Surge protector caught fire. Surge protector is not a circuit breaker. I think they do make some that have like a built-in circuit breaker that like pops out. But a regular power strip, there's it's there to give you more branches to your power, but you can still overload the circuit, and the weakest link will burn first. So that's the scary part about electricity. But I don't think I have it on the wall. I have a certification in doing electrical work, and I thought it was on my wall up here. But these doors, I have like a bunch of my certificates, but it's not up there. Uh-oh. My chat just jumped. Hang on, guys. Von Yinzer's here. What's up, man? Glad to see you live streaming tonight. Thanks for being here. Oh, Zen Ginger said, I love my moss tree so much. Thanks, Steven. So that moss tree I 3D printed and I put some Christmas moss in it like months and months ago. When I first came up with the idea, Zen loved it so much, and one of the live streams I said I'd give it to you. When she got some diamond tetras, I popped it in the box for her and sent her the moss tree. So it took it a minute to get going, but then it really started growing. That Christmas moss will get going on you to where you gotta trim it a lot. It's pretty fast growing, which is awesome, because any plant that's fast growing is consuming a lot of nitrates out of the water, which is great for your fish. Jarhead said, that's an awesome idea. One of our members started a YouTube channel for our association and is going to interview members, let them talk about their fish room and give tours. Yep, that's basically what I want to do. Just make a playlist off my channel. Maybe do like Cafe, which is our fish club, and then do this is Cincinnati and Neo. And that was my plan this summer, and that obviously is never happened. Chevy Fish, yes. Chevy Fish said, yes, Priscilla did. Yeah, luckily that's all it was, and it wasn't anything worse. Really, 2233's here. Hello. So, I'm trying to think what else fish related. I'm trying to stay fish related, guys. I guess I can talk about products without trying to be boring. So my biggest seller lately has been the Matten filters. I had to think about it for a second. Matten filters have been selling really well. I've been selling out of quite a few of the Phoenix products, and I don't know if I have any Fluval 3.0s left. I might have. Actually, I think I'm sold out of the Fluval 3.0s. The Nilo Aquatics Thrive, which is a liquid fertilizer, and the Excel, which is the carbon. Those are both on sale on the website, 614fish.com. Those will not be coming back in stock because it's going to get replaced by my house brand fertilizer. As far as hard goods, from basically here on out, I'll probably stop selling fish foods. At least I'll probably stop selling Hikari, because I got into it with Hikari a couple months ago on pricing, and basically they want me to give them a percentage of all my sales on top of me already buying their products, and I just don't agree with that. It's like I'm buying your products, I'm selling them, and now you want a cut. And it's not just a cut of that too. I'm like, you're already getting the money for me buying them. Now you want a percentage of my sales, but they want all my sale logs. They want to see everything I'm selling every month. I'm like, that's none of your business what I'm doing. So Hikari I won't probably be bringing back on. So I've been using, you guys saw, I don't know if you saw on the website, but I've been using some Northfin Foods, their kelp wafers, their fry starter food, which is really, really good. And I just basically been testing these foods, and my buddy Mike that breeds the rainbows, he really loves their food. And I think if I continue selling foods, I'll probably be selling Northfin. And they definitely are expensive compared to like Hikari or some lesser brands, but they are a really good food. So if I can get the pricing right, I think that's the route I would go. It's, I probably won't stock a whole lot of stuff, but quality food at a good price. I know Aquarium Co-op stopped selling them because the price was super high, but if I can get the price low enough, I think it would be good. I like the fried food for sure, and the kelp wafers. My favorite wafers are the Sarah catfish chips, because these have wood in it, and so far every plucker I've ever had loved these things. And even these rainbows will eat them. I wonder if I get that on video. So they're really small and thin, and they don't like muck up the water. Let's see. You guys can see them. I mean, they can't swallow them because they're too big, but they'll munch on them as they fall, and then when they hit the ground, they'll keep munching on them. Um, yeah, it says wafers with wood for all ancestors and El Catfish. And everything I've ever had has loved these things. And I know Eric Bodrock, I think that's why I ended up getting them, because one of his videos, he was like harping on how good these are. They are good. They're expensive. These things are expensive. I have 2 left in stock if anybody is looking for them. I got 2 of these, you call them jars or cans left. They last quite a long time because it is a big can, but it is good stuff. I really like all the Sarah Foods. It's just harder to get because I basically have one wholesaler that I use just for Sarah Foods. They sell a bunch of stuff, but I have a bigger wholesaler I use. They're cheaper, but they don't sell Sarah. I don't know. I think the Sarah Foods are really awesome. They're just really expensive, so I don't bring in a whole bunch. Their discus food is really good, and I sell that like super quickly. I sell out, but the problem is when everything happened this year. I think Sarah is German? Question mark. Yeah, it's made in Germany. When the pandemic happened, it was impossible to get any of this stuff, and all the discus granules I had just went like that. And since I put everything on hold with this whole like I might be moving type thing, I haven't reordered any Sarah products. But that's another food. I think if I go forward with food, it's going to be Sarah products and Northfin. Lights. I'll probably stop doing the Stingrays. I have Stingrays. That's what's on this tank. They're very economical and they work really great. They just didn't sell as well as I thought they would. The Fluval 3.0s, I sell those quite easily, so I'll probably still bring those in. I might try going to the Phoenix Planted series. Maybe people like the Planted better. I like the price point on this, and so far it's been growing the sward's fine. So, I mean, it's not going to carpet a plant, but for the price, and they're super thin. I mean, that light bar is, I mean, you can see it running across. It's thin. I really like that. It's nothing fancy. It's not, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but I have that on a Wi-Fi switch, so I have it semi-automated. But it's just a light bar, but it's good, and it's been really reliable. Like, I haven't had any issues with it, but Zen Ginger's on it. She posted a link directly to the catfish chips. Thank you, Zen. Let me get back up to wherever I was in the chat. Ray Aquatics is here. Hey, Ray. Oh, man. I'm going to mess this up. I'm terrible with names. Is it Rahim? Sorry. Says, hi, Steven. How are you? I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well. Sorry about that. I'm terrible with names. I really am. Especially fish names. I go into like club meets or swaps and people are like, do you have blah 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 fish? I'm like, I don't know what that is. What's the generic name? Oh, it's a Serpe Tetra. Yes, I have those. Or, if I read a name, I'm like, that's yeah, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the scientific name. That's a beta fish. I don't know, I'm terrible with pronouncing names. Show you fish that no Fluval lights on the website, then they're sold out. Basically, when something's been selling out, I just take it off the website because honestly, I thought it was going to shut down all the hard goods. Basically, now I'm just waiting for the foods to sell out, and then I would like to stage 2 of the fish room. When the fish room moves out to the garage, the current fish room is going to be the inventory room, because I want shelves so I can do cardboard boxes and put products in boxes instead of hanging them on the walls. And I want to redo this is what I call the YouTube studio, because I use this room for YouTube. It just also became like a shipping center because my computer's here. I want to move the computer out to the fish room. Well, fish room, which would be the new hard goods room. And have like a shipping station out there. Have the computer out there so I can do all the prints for the labels, and then redo this. I'm kind of thinking about trying to find another one of these tanks and doing a double stack, and then have that as a background behind me, and then have the camera, because right now the camera is actually kind of angled in my room, but I want the camera like straight on shot, and then having tanks behind me as a backdrop until the 2,000 plus gallon community tank's up. I won't call it like a gallery, but like just a nice background to watch, and yeah, that's what I want to do. But once Fish Room 2.0 is done, Fish Room 1.0 is gone, and that's the new hard goods room. I'll start bringing more products back in, and they'll go back on the website. I basically was taking stuff down on the website to make it easier for people to get to the products I actually had. If you saw Fluval 3.0, you're like, I want that, and you click on it and be like, oh, it's sold out. Or I want this, oh, it's sold out. Now if it's on the website, it should be the only things I have left as far as goods. Yeah. That's yeah. Patty said, I'm almost out of alcohol and soon we shall be entering the eating phase. There's always that phase after drinking or during drinking. I'm going to need some 10-gallon Matten filters to set up some Neo shrimp tank soon. To be honest, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to push you into a sale, but if you want to buy them from me, I have them on sale right now. And they've been selling like hotcakes, and I don't have many left. I'm logging into my software right now. That way I can tell you exactly how many I have left, but I don't think I have that many left. Let me see. You said 10-gallon. I have 4 left. I'll just rattle these off in case anybody's interested in Matten filters. Because once these are gone, I will be doing Matten filters again, but I don't know when. It might be 2 months before I get them back. I did find a local company that could possibly be my new source. But I have to like really. It's not like a public company that just sells to anybody. They sell to manufacturers. They do like seat foams and stuff like that. So I gotta actually take them my business license and resellers ID and all that stuff before they'll even like talk to me. So I mean, I just found that out, so I have to do all that next. But I'm hoping I can get them all locally done, and it'll save me a trip to go get these things. But 10 gallons, I got 4 left. 20 longs, which they've been really popular. I think 20 longs are probably the best seller. I got 2 left. 20 talls, they've been hit or miss. 3 left. 29 sold pretty good. I got 3 left. 40-gallon breeders, 2 left. And I'm sold out of the 55s. I only brought on, I think, 5 of the 55s. They all sold pretty quickly, so they might be the best seller. I'm not sure. They sold out fairly quickly, but I only had 5 of them because I was testing the water. I didn't know what would sell, but I know like the 10s and 20 longs. I brought in, I don't even know how many, dozens of each size of those because I knew those would be popular in the shrimp world. But I also use these as filtration on my flow-through rack that doesn't have any shrimp. Because think of it as a sponge filter. It's, they're 2-inch thick, and it's the whole size of your tank. It's a massive sponge filter. With the added benefits if you have shrimp. But I like them because, and the main reason I did it is I needed to protect the overflow. So instead of using strainers that could clog, I use a Matten filter. But it's a background. So my tanks that are long in the racks, I didn't have to worry about painting a background or doing like a frosted background or anything like that because it's a black background because of the Madden filter. So it's a Madden filter. It's protecting my overflow from fish going down in it, and it's ginormous surface area for beneficial bacteria, and baby fry even will peck at it for like whatever they eat that's small, like little food particles, stuff like that gets stuck to it. It's really good, not just for shrimp. But I just want to, it's not a sales pitch. It is a sales pitch, I guess, but I just want to let you know how many I have left. I think you said the 10 gallons, and they are, what are they? They're normally $16. They're $13. It's $3 off. That doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when $13 for Madden filter and the lift tube, it's a really good deal. But yeah. Let me get back in the chat and see. It's like it doesn't update, and then it updates, and then I lose. Okay, so here's a good question. And this is a hard question. Actually, before I answer that, let me get this other one. Quick question to ask. What's the best air pump to drive 2 undergravel uplifts and 2 air stones in a 110-liter tank? So 2 undergravel uplifts and 2 air stones. So 4. So if that's all I was doing, you could probably do one of those Tetra. I think they're like Tetra Whispers. I got a couple of them out in the fish room. It's get the one that has the 2 outlets, and then all I would do is take the 2 outlets, run one, and split it to do one task, like your undergravel filter. Take the other line, split it, and run your air stones. That should be able to do it fine. If you ever plan in the future to add more tanks, like if this is in a fish room, then I would look at getting like a central pump. But if you only have one tank, then yeah, like a Tetra Whisper. And the only reason I recommend that is that's really the only pump I've used. I bought one of those. It's all like aluminum. It's got ribs on it. It's supposed to be like a piston pump. Mine at least it's really loud, but it generates a ton of heat. But I had that running. How many airdrops did I have that running? It's running like I think 8 airdrops, and it works fine because this is my fish room, so I don't really mind it, but I wouldn't really recommend it just because it gets really hot. With that much heat, that means it's using quite a bit of electricity. But I've used those Tetra Whispers. I still have them. Right now they're powering the air stones in the plywood pond, the air stones in the 55 shrimp tanks, and also the air stones in the flow-through rack. I haven't really used anything else that I could recommend, other than like USB air pumps, but to run 4 drops, you would need 2 or 4 of them. I don't know if 2 would be enough, because on the tank size, it might work, but I think really, honestly, the easiest thing would be the Tetra Whisper. If I use something else, I would maybe change my mind, but that's all I've ever used. Mike says, Steven, I need to meet up with you. I need some of that 614 liquid fertilizer. Buddy, I got you. Mike's actually getting a gallon of it from me because I'm actually sold out of the small bottles. This is the small bottle. They don't come labeled to me. I do my own labels because I saved money doing my own labels versus having the not factory, like the manufacturer. So the manufacturing doing labels, I found I was saving, let's say, 50 cents a bottle if I just label it myself. But this is how they come to me, and then I label them. They don't come with the top on them. They come sealed, and then you get the pump top. It's an all-in-one fertilizer. Mike likes it a lot, and Haley from Oddball Aquatics, she swears by it. So we're really good friends, but she legit swears by this stuff. So I have a gallon that's going to her too as a refill. I originally bought them just for me to use around the house with 55 tanks, I bought gallons of it to refill this because I just go up to the tank and squirt. I would do it now, but I just did it yesterday, so it doesn't need it. But um, yeah, it's good. It really is good stuff. I don't make this myself because I don't want to say I'm not a chemist because it's not really a chemist that makes this, but I have a company make this for me to the specifications, and it's it's good. It's very similar to Easy Green. The quantity of what's in it is they're a little bit different than each other, but it's snail safe, shrimp safe. Um, yeah, it's been really good. It's worked out. It's one of my favorite like house brand products. The other house brand grab, I call them the 614 botanical line. These are botanical items for like if you're doing a biotope or if you're trying to do tannins for shrimp. Um, but I do all this in house with the bagging and the heat sealing and the labeling. Um, can you guys see this? These are the mini pods. What else do I got? Banana stems. And then my biggest seller is the alder cones, which I don't have a bag sitting here. Or do I? So here's some other ones. Here's some pods. I got all different kinds. I think I already showed the mini pods. But yeah, I do have some that I haven't put on the website yet. Guess I can show you guys. This will show up. So I got these are red oak caps. They come in bulk bags like this, and I have to weigh them out, and that's how I do everything by weight. Unless it's like banana stems or these, there should be 3 in here. 3 of these pods per bag. But check out these trumpet pods. These would be sweet for a shrimp tank. Right? And I got monkey pods too, which they're over there. But I got these monkey pods, which are super awesome. Those still need to go up on the website though. But the botanicals do really well. I wish I could remember. Chicago. It's like Chicago Planet Aquarium Society. Chicago with Planet Tanks. Bought a ton of stuff, botanicals for me. That was super awesome. I forget the website. But Chicago Planet somebody. But anyways, guys, we're at that 1 hour mark, I'm pretty sure. I actually, tonight, see, I had coffee right after work, so I feel like that's why I've got some more energy tonight. Usually I'm super tired in the evenings. But yeah, let me see. Where we're at. Levi's here. Funny story this morning. My Jaguar cichlid jumped out and hit me in the face. Well, I hope the Jaguar cichlid's okay. Jarhead only uses sponge filters in all my tanks. Mine are sponge filters or Matten filters. And then I have one tank that doesn't have any filtration other than plants. A-Fish says, hello, what's going on? I swam by and saw this stream about fish, and I thought I would say hi, see if I could grab any fish flakes. That's funny. Patty says I have some dandruff flakes for you. Oh, and I saw something about bugs. I do have bug bites in stock. Not all of them. What do I have? Cichlid, pleco, and goldfish, which are the fluval bug bites. The pleco ones sell really well. The goldfish are kind of random. I personally have not used them. I just brought them on in case somebody else would want them. I've never used goldfish ones, so I can't really tell you how well they are. But they seem, they're selling, so people must like them. Streetwise says, house brand products, what is your local water? Like local water as far as like hardness and stuff, or pH. So my pH is like 7.2. Hardness is usually like, well, actually I haven't tested it lately, but it's typically like 300 TDS. Um, and then typically zero nitrates. I know the west side of Columbus, this spring they were getting like 40 to 50 parts per million on nitrates out of the tap. I've never had that issue, but yeah. IHSP says, sorry all, I've had a very long day. I'm going to get off here and get to closing up shop around here. I hate stupid people. Have a great weekend. And try to relax. Streetwise, hello. Chevy Fish says Chicago Aquatic Plant Society. It was something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. I saw the email because it was like, you know, when somebody buys something, it shows their email. And it was their name at, and it was like Chicago something something something, and caught my eye. I'm like, all right, let's see what this website is, and it's like a planted tank. Like maybe it's like ChicagoPlantedTanks.com or something like that. Can I use almond leaves for shrimp tank? Absolutely. That's what I use. I use all Indian almond leaves in all my shrimp tanks. You know, it gives off the tannins, which is beneficial. I use it as a food source. It gives you great surface area for them to get biofilm and eat. But as that leaf decays, they eat it. Eventually, you'll start with the leaf, and then you'll basically almost get like the skeleton of the leaf. It's like the veins in the leaf or whatever. That's what you'll get, and then eventually there's nothing left. I bought it in bulk to actually sell, but they were like what I consider B grade leaves. So instead of leaves being like nice and flat for a package, they were kind of curled because they basically took, you know, 100 leaves and then they tie wrapped it. So they were bent a little bit, and then as they dry, they bent into the shape. They were massive leaves, like super awesome size wise, but the quality, I mean, it's a leaf. A leaf's a leaf, but to sell it, people would complain about it looking like it got ran over by a truck. I don't give a crap because I toss them into a tank, and for me, they serve a purpose of feeding the shrimp. I could care less what they look like. I even, because they were actually really big, I rip them up into pieces and we'll throw them in. Or I'll throw a whole one in, just let it float, and eventually it will sink. But yes, I use Indian almond leaves in all my shrimp tanks. Zen said, "Plan in Chicago, maybe, I don't know, something like that." I got my Havanas with me now, and Charlotte's right there. They must know LRB's coming on soon because this means they probably want to go outside or go watch TV or something. Bruce says, how do you reduce hard water in an aquarium? So if you got excessively hard water, you can cut the water with like distilled water, or you can get RO DI water. RO water, it's probably the route I would go. Really, my personal opinion, having too hard water is the best way to go, because in your case, I'm assuming you're trying to get softer water for a certain species of fish. If you want to keep a hard water species of fish, you're golden. If you want to keep a softer water, I find it way easier to be able to cut that hard water down with RO water to get to whatever hardness you want than it is vice versa. So if you got really soft water, if you're West Coast and you're trying to get really hard water for like cichlids, I think it's harder for them to try to get the hard water than it is to go the opposite way. So you can try distilled water. I feel like that's a lot of work with, you know, especially if you got a big aquarium, if you have to go buy gallons of distilled water. I think the most economical thing to do is hop on Amazon and search for like a uh, 3 to 5 stage RODI system. It probably will be in the $100 to $200 range, but you'll be able to make a ton of water. And then that will strip it down to basically zero parts per million of anything in that water. And then you can basically make your own water chemistry. So let's just, for ease of numbers, let's say your hard water is 500 TDS, which is total dissolved solids. You'll use like a TDS meter to measure that. That gives you a general estimate of what's in your water. You can also do a water hardness test on it. Let's say you got a 5 gallon bucket of that water, your tap water. You make 5 gallon bucket of RO water. You put them together. You're basically cutting that 500 TDS in half. You should roughly have 250 TDS. That's one way you can soften your water. That's the route I would go, is to get an RODI system. They're not very big, maybe this big with all the filters on it. It's usually going to have a pre-filter, a carbon filter, and then you're going to have your resin filter, and then a lot of them come with like a secondary carbon filter to treat it like one last time. But they're not expensive at all. They're not used for the fish world. Like, it's not marketed to the fish world. They do have marketed ones. I guess I'm lying. I know like bulk reef supply, like saltwater people all use RO systems to make their saltwater, like the hardcore reefers. So bulk reef supply sells them, but all you need is an RODI system. They're all the same principle. Get on Amazon, eBay, those kind of places, and just search for like RO system. It's going to be for drinking, like tap water. Like, people will add these underneath their sink to have RO water to drink. I never was a fan of drinking RO water because I feel like having all the minerals and stuff in the water is what gives water its taste. Obviously, you don't want like a bunch of iron if you're on a well. Might taste a little funky, but I'm knock on wood, our city tap water here is really good. Haven't had any issues with it. No excessive chlorine. I know some people will say they can tell like when their water treatment plants like treat extra chlorine. I don't know who just placed that order on the website, but thank you. Somebody just bought 20 things. I get like little notifications. Somebody just bought 20 items off the website, so thank you for that order, whoever that was. I appreciate it. But now I forget what I was talking about. They'll be like, yeah, I turn on my tap water and I can smell chlorine. Like, I've never had that issue. Dang it, my chat just jumped again. I hit enter too early, ignore that. Well, I'll ignore it because I'm behind. I didn't see it. What's your leads go for price-wise? Select Pet. I've never sold them. I never even priced them. I test those products out, and that was the test phase. This spring, I was real big into like bringing a bunch of products in to test. Like, one of the things were these shrimp dinner bowls, or whatever they want to call these. They're little glass bowls you put in your shrimp tank, and then you put your food in this. You can see your shrimp eat it, and if there was anything left, super easy, suction out any leftover food. I brought in a bunch of these. I didn't like the packaging from the company. They came like in these, and when I bought bulk, let's say I need to order like 1,000 of them. Well, I always do a small order. I have, they're still sitting here. There's tons of them, right? They basically were all like this in a poly bag, and some of them were broken. I'm like, well, if I order 1,000 of them and 10% breaks, like, that's not good. So it was one of those things where I just didn't like how they were getting to me. So this is a product that I tested that I never released. The other one, I thought, Yep. I don't know if you guys can see that this well. These are called mineral balls. People are supposedly love these with like shrimp tanks. I never got into it. Company like sent me this to try. Still in the bag. Just never got into it. While we're on it, little caves, right? Like Pisto caves. Super cool. They came wrapped in the craft paper. No boxes, which I'm cool with because that's saving, I don't want to say saving the planet, but less packaging, less waste, right? Came just like this. Great. Not reliable source, and I think they stopped selling them. So I bought a bunch of these, and now I don't have a use for them. So there is products that I bring in and that never got listed. Another one are these temperature, had it upside down. It's little digital temp gauges. I saw LRB Aquatics was using these, so I brought them in to test them. The suckers kept falling off my aquariums. Some would stay on for like a week. Some stayed on for like a month. But the adhesive just wasn't that good. And what's crazy is like they would fall off, but then still leave like glue residue that didn't want to come off the tanks. So this is another product I brought a bunch in. Because that's the problem is like I have to order so many. You know, I got dozens of these. So I was going to basically open each one and redo the adhesive with like 3M, something I know that's going to stick better to glass. I never got around to it just because I'm like, it's probably not worth my time. Maybe I didn't use like alcohol pads to clean the glass. I just wiped them and stuck them. Because I figure that's what most people would do is they stick them, they, you know, buy the product and they stick it on the glass. Well, another product that sat around. These I still want to work with. So I bought a bunch of these. These are for growing moss. They got these little lids. You put a little bit of moss in there. You shut it. The moss grows through these holes. And then I wanted to sell this off. So instead of, oops, sorry, I don't know if that was loud. I just hit the table. I wanted to basically just be able to pop these into a bunch of tanks and let them grow. And then I could just pull out this thing and ship it off to you guys. Boom, done. There's a bottom half that comes off. I'm like, well, what's the point of the bottom half? I realized these suckers float. So when you have moss, and you put moss in here and just dump this in, this sucker will float around your tank. The bottom half is so you can put some pieces of gravel in there, you shut it, and then it'll sink. Really smart, and I have a ton of these. They came in boxes of 8. They're up there. Came in boxes, I think, of 8 or 12, and I bought like all the boxes they had because I figured this would be, because a lot of the places will do moss on mats, and it's usually stainless steel mesh. I don't have any sitting here. I have some out in the room. And then like when I bought it from the local fish store before, like when I was just like a hobbyist, like getting into it, I just plopped the whole piece of stainless steel into the fish tank and let it grow. Well, this, super easy. Like you just, if you bought, you know, the moss, it's in this, you can either take it apart or pop this in, but this looks a lot better and it's a lot smaller than a stainless steel mesh piece. So that was something I wanted to do, and I still have them all. I do have some growing out in the fish tanks, and with my Christmas moss, it grows like weeds, so I don't even really need to like try to propagate it out. It grows like gangbusters for me. But yeah, there's a bunch of different products, but the Indian almond leaves never made it to the website. Only Oscar says, leaving chat, but I'm watching on my big screen. Bye. See you, Only Oscars. Good to see you in here. Chat jumped. Chevy Fish said, thanks for placing an order, whoever did. Yes, thank you. Can I use RO water for shrimp tank? So you can use RO water for Caridina shrimp if you're doing Neocaridina, which is what I do. I wouldn't use RO water at all because they actually like having hardness. I use just straight tap water on all my shrimp tanks, and they all do really well. They need the minerals to help them with their molts. If you use RO water, you have to treat it with like a GH. I was going to say shrimp. I don't know if it's Shrimp King. Um, it's like the GHKH plus, like we had to basically add minerals back in. But like snails and shrimp, they all need to have minerals, even if they are a softer water like a Caridina shrimp. They still need the minerals to be able to basically grow their shell because they molt it. But as far as like running just straight RO water to a shrimp tank, I would say no, because even with Caridina, you still have to. Shay Fisher says salty shrimp GH plus that. You still have to add minerals back into it, even with RO water. You can't just run straight RO water because the shrimp will not like that. Jarhead said floating moss balls would be cool. Yeah, so I know like the all the moss balls that you see online. I'm pretty sure those are just ping pong balls with moss glued to it, and then they have a fishing line down to an anchor, and that's how they get the floating ball. I thought about doing a 3D print of. I thought a floating ledge would be cool. I can 3D print like a hollow mat or a hollow ledge. Do the same thing. Use fishing line to anchor it to the bottom, but have a ledge floating with moss on it, and then especially with a shrimp tank. I think the ultimate shrimp tank would be something with multiple layers because shrimp are all about surface area. Shrimp don't need room to swim; they need surface area. So 20 longs are really good for shrimp. Definitely 20 long over 20 tall. Even 10 gallons. My best luck was footprint wise. My 55s have been really booming with shrimp, but they're always on the bottom, like they're not swimming. So the way I kind of took advantage of the height of the 55 is using aquarium lily plants, the dwarf aquarium lily. They shoot the runners up to the surface, and then you have the lily pads. The whole bottom of the lily pads are covered, the stems are covered, and there's no fish in those tanks because they're just for breeding shrimp. If you try to get serious about breeding shrimp, Charlotte, speaking of, come here. She's deaf. If you guys are new tonight to the live stream, I have my pit bull, Havana, here. She's a rescue. She's been super awesome. Had her for a few years. And then the noisy one is Charlotte. She's a deaf Dalmatian. She's coming up on 2 years old now. But she's deaf, so I had to do sign language. But she's using her tail and whacking a bunch of air stones. And she's staring at me. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. I don't know what I was talking about. Floating moss balls. That was for Caridina shrimp. Salty shrimp GHKH plus for Neocaridina. But anyways, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock. I would assume LRB's live. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Like, that was super awesome. I saw some new faces tonight that I haven't seen before, so welcome. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, thank you. Zen Ginger says LRB is live right now, so I'll probably jump into his chat here for a little bit and hang out with my pups. But OFR tomorrow. If you're in the Strongsville, Cleveland area, swing by OFR. I'll be up there tomorrow. Come hang out. You don't need invitation to show up. Just show up. We'll put you to work. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll do a small update to let you guys know when that drone video will hit. But my whole plan is. My whole plan is to edit it on Sunday. But thank you guys. And whoever ordered, thank you so much. I'll get working on that now. But I'll see you guys. Thanks for watching and all that fun stuff.